Okay, hello. So this is gonna be a short tutorial on how to make your local roads, or basically any road in the world, for, well, either video game, but this one will be specifically for Assetto Corsa, but should be working on any moddable video game. Okay, what do we need? We do need Blender and open source 3D software. We do need the OSM add-on. If you don't have it, Google it, Blender OSM. There's a free version of it. After that, open Blender, go on Edit, Preferences, click on Add-ons, Install, and search for it and press Install Add-on. And then after that, activate it by checking the checkbox. You should also set a directory where to store the download data and terrain files. Yep, that's it, I guess. The rest is not needed. I think an image software like Paint.net, Photoshop, or GIMP is also quite nice. All right. Okay, we start by firstly deleting everything that's in our scene. My scene is already clean. I hope you can do that. Otherwise, you should maybe look into some basic tutorials first. But I try to be as clear as I can. And on the bottom left, I have screencast enabled so you can see what buttons I click. And I try to make this uncut so you don't see anything that's getting skipped. So I press N to see, I actually forgot how it's called. These options. Under view, I firstly bump up the clip end. You probably have way less stuff than I have there. So probably tool view and OSM. You click on OSM and on select to search for an area where, well, of the streets you want to recreate. I'm just gonna move into Germany because the data there was really bad. Nice voice. And I'm just gonna search for a road that looks decent. This one looks fun. And then on the left side, show selection rectangle. And just, voila, drag it out a bit further than the roads. I'm gonna only do a small part, but you can scale it up, well, pretty far. But keep in mind, the more roads you have, the more work you need to do, and the harder it's on your machine. Also in Assetto Corsa or whatever video game you're doing this for. After that, after you selected or you got everything you need, you can click on copy, go back into Blender, click on paste, select terrain because we want the terrain, and click import. Wait a few seconds. And voila, our terrain is on top of us. Depending on where on the, how high the terrain actually is, you maybe see it right away, or otherwise you just zoom out. But you can see it doesn't have a texture. First of all, we're in the run shading mode, so I'm gonna select viewport shading. And then we need the, well, terrain, the satellite images. So I'm gonna click on image overlay, and I can select a different overlay type depending on what satellite I want to use, or if I want to use like street maps. I'm gonna show you street maps first because it's quite decent to do it it's quite helpful, let's call it that, if you want to recreate the roads because there are no trees blocking the road. Click on import and wait. This can take a few minutes depending on your settings and from where you're downloading or where you are. Okay, so you can see there's a road. Well, the main road is this reddish color, and the secondary roads are in a white color. Well, today we're gonna focus only on the red ones and only on a small part up here. Okay, so next we want to make it possible that the road is like on top of the terrain. And if we zoom in, you can see there's no like even space for the road. It's just a raw terrain. And that's not how the world looks. At least not where I am. So, well, firstly we need to recreate a path, or I recreate a path around the roads. So I'm press 7 to go into the top orthographic view, press Shift A and insert a path. Press Tab, you can see it, here's my path, and move it to the beginning of the road. Well, in that case, to the beginning of where I start my road. And I'm gonna place it on the middle of the road. Be in mind, the more precise you do this part, the more precise your road will be in the end. This won't be the most accurate recreation of your roads, depending on how much time you invest. But I think it will get you going quite decent. If you want to do it the right way, you probably should get some LiDAR data and do it with LiDAR. Depending on where you live, this can be either free or really expensive. For me, I did ask my, what's it called? It's called State. How much they charge, and it's around, to get a decent quality, was around €60 per square kilometer. And yeah, I'm not gonna pay this. Especially since I'm just doing this for myself. So, now I recreated the road. I don't need this. Yeah, this stuff, this overlay thing anymore. I firstly press on the terrain, press Shift D to duplicate it, and move the duplicate to a new collection, call it backup. Also, you should name everything accordingly. We call this terrain street map. And I'm gonna hide this collection. Also, we're gonna rename this NURBS path, press F2 or double click on the name. And we call it street path. All right, so next thing, while the street path is selected, go under object data properties, and on test method, go to C up. That's important, otherwise depending on how the road is flowing, yeah, it can twist like 90 degrees or like whatever angle it wants to. And now the road will be even. Okay, next thing, we'll create like a plane with which we can alter the terrain, or we actually gonna use this as the terrain. So we are gonna make a new plane. Press Shift A on the mesh, plane. Okay, now you see nothing. Press point on your numpad, and yeah, well, yeah, nice brain. Just move around. Next thing, on the modifier properties, I'm gonna use an array modifier. And the fit type, I'm gonna use curve, and I'll use the street path. So you see it's going this way. And also I'm gonna use a curve path. And now this thing follows our path, which is currently on the ground. Will be fixed in a second. First of all, we're gonna go back to the plane. And the default plane is 2 meters by 2 meters. So we could also just, on the right, under viewport overlays, click on the drop down, and on the measurement edge length, you see how long it is. So first of all, I'm gonna make this, nope, that was too small. I scaled along the y-axis around 3.5 meters. Yeah, that's alright. Make a loop cut in the middle, Control Alt to new loop cut, so we have the middle. And now, yeah, I'm gonna make this another 20 meters long on both sides. And add 2 loop cuts on each side. On the right, on the modifier properties, I'm also click on merge, so these stuff will be merged together. Well, once it's close enough, as you can see. So this will be our rough road size. In that case, only rough because our road will be placed on top of it. But that's just so our terrain on this, at this part can be flat, or well, at least at the beginning flat. You can alter with it later on. Okay, press tab, so it follows down underneath. If you go into the top view, you see it follows around our road, but yeah, underground. Click on street path, add modifier, and shrinkwarp. The wrap method will be project. We only want to be affected by the z-axis, positive and negative, and select the target. You can see our road is now on top of, or our path is now on top of the terrain. And we hit apply. And now we're gonna see it. It's like this. Actually, now this color really bothers me. I'm gonna go back to the terrain, click on the terrain, open this menu, go back to OSM if it's not selected already, image overlay, make sure the right terrain is selected, and I'm gonna use the ArcGIS satellite. And press import and wait again. Because we already do have a backup of it. So if we actually need it for the recreation of other roads, be my guess. Yeah, now again, wait a few seconds or minutes, depending on the internet speed or what satellite you're using. And now this should look way much easier in the eye. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Now you can easily see the, for example, if we pull this one, I can see, let's hide this for a second, that we can alter this more. That looks fine to me. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now we see this is like not the way we want it to be. But first of all, we have a different problem. I think here it's pretty decent, unless on this one it's way too steep. As you can see, it goes down there like crazy. It's actually funny because C's up, but yeah. You want to avoid that steep elevation because I don't think there's a road with a steep elevation. So we're gonna select our street path, press 3 on a numpad, or 1 depending on where the road is, so you have like a side view of it. And we will watch it. Yeah, we will like smoothing it out. So you see this one looks wrong. Take in mind only the, what's it called, the z-axis. If you would move it around a different axis, you see it's just like moving side or to the other side. It's just so the elevation will be decently smoothed out. You maybe could actually use a modifier for that to smooth it out, but especially on stuff like hairpins, this is really important because the more hard the hairpin is, the more sharp, you can get into really weird problems, like you can see right here. I'm not quite sure why this is, but whatever, this will be fixed. This will be fixed later, no problem. So now once you're happy with this, obviously the terrain data isn't always accurate. So if you know the road or have a video of it or have data for it, I think I know that there are websites from that where you could just like insert the height data and from every point you can just enter it. But in the end, as long as it's good to drive, I'm fine with it. And to me, this looks decent enough for this tutorial. All right, next part is to to place our plane, which we now can rename to terrain alternation. Voila. And now we want, well, firstly we need to apply it, but before we do that, we're gonna duplicate this collection. Right click on it, duplicate collection. Now we call this, we already have a backup thing. We're just gonna select these two, Shift D to duplicate and move it to backup. That didn't end up in backup. Now it's in backup. All right, so we're gonna apply both these modifiers. Just click on the drop down and click apply. And now we see we can use it. And now again, on the top right, the viewport overlays, I'm gonna deselect edge length because it's no longer needed. Press 7 on numpad plus, so you can see, and now you can see why this is why this is so messed up. It's actually not a problem. We can either like select with holding control parts and move it towards there. I think that will work. There, like this, so it's a bit better, but they overlap anyway and we need to delete them or merge them later. I think on there, on the top it's fine. Yep, it's fine. Okay, right now we want to select the middle loop cut. You can see it follows all through the road or the terrain alternation, and we press Ctrl R to extend or select more. Now on the right side, Object Data Properties, and on the vertex group we click on the plus. Right there we press remove because, or well, either wait to 0 or remove. Then press Ctrl I to insert the selection. And now we can actually select everything to weight 100. Assign. And well, we could also call this vertex group terrain alternation. Alright, and now we're gonna use a shrinkwarp modifier again. It's probably most used modifier in the way I use or I do these tracks. Click on shrinkwarp. Again, project, only the z-axis, positive and negative. And on the target, we're gonna use this one. And now it just basically lays on top of it. Now here comes the vertex group. On vertex group, we use this one. And now if we would hide the terrain, that's so bright, let's make it out. You can see that the road is actually, or well, the surface underneath the road is flat. So we can place the road on top of this soon. And well, as you can see, it's quite boxy. Just click on it, right click, shade smooth. Beautiful, looks like a terrain. And right here, yeah, we alter with that later. Now we can actually apply this one. The terrain can come back. If you are in the solid view, you can see they are somewhat overlaying, somewhat not. But it's fine, because we're gonna use the terrain, this part, later and cut it out so they just overlap. Alright, so once again, I'm not gonna hide this one, but I'm gonna change the viewport shading again to material preview, and now we can create a road firstly. I'm gonna hide the collection first, or actually just the alternation. Alright. Now there are two ways we can create this road. The easy one, we just make a plane and place it along this path. There won't be the width, nice English, won't be, well, will be the same all around unless you place it manually later. Or you would, or you could actually use a plate and move it along this road. Like for example, I'm going to show you this method first. Don't worry if it's underneath. Oops. Make sure the X-ray toggle is on. And now move it along the road. With E extrude. Rotate it. And you can follow this road quite nice. You could also just either use the E for all or just make the left side and the right side later. That's probably the better result if you make this as closely as you can, because you can easily add the roads like this and get a cleaner transition. Like that, something like that. Delete the last one. And now for this part, make sure that the lines are like the points, the vertices are at the same point. If it's not, oh, is there one? There's one. If it's not wide enough, or looks wrong. So the bad part is if you're not precise of it, the road will be a little bit weird. Is that alright? This one, this one, this one, this one, yes. Like this. Wonderful. So here, 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 here. Select 4 points and press F so it gets well, it's a mesh and not just the points. So, and you see on the bottom here, that's our road. Looks really clumpy, but we can fix this by applying a subdivision, and now it's round. Obviously, we do have a problem if we at the edges, but this will be fixed soon. Now we're gonna move it up on our terrain alternation. Or actually, do we? Yeah, all right, we do. The plane, which is the road, we can rename this to road. We'll also get a shrinkwarp. But the shrinkwarp will be before, no, after. Let's put it after the subdivision so we have more points. Project, positive, negative, C, and the target is our terrain alternation. We can hide the terrain. Whoops, like this, and we see that's the point where I don't like this. Here it looks fine, and on the other hand, it doesn't, because the road is the road we altered is way less than the road that actually is there. Which means we could either move these points out to where the road actually fits. Could have probably done it before. Oh, wait, not with double G. Is that worth it? It probably would be worth it. Boy, it's so much work. That's so annoying. I actually fucked that part. I'm gonna hide this road and make a new one. Call it just road. Make an array. I show you the easier version. fit curve, street path, array, and now I'm gonna 3.5. That's all right. Make it like that. Which this is 3.5 meters. That's all right. We're gonna put one around here. Like this. This part will go down. These two get beveled. Shade smooth. This is gonna be our road. Press 1, move it upwards. So road is a little bit ahead, or not ahead, above the ground. And now we can move it to our road. And as you see, the road fits above, well, our terrain that we altered with. Here the terrain has a little bit of a problem, but to fix that, pick this off, turn this off, just gonna move it around there. Up to there, so it's fine, we will close this later. Beautiful. In theory, you could just name this or give this a texture. I think we're just gonna do this. The plane, which is, for now we call this one road just to test it, and gonna test. Yeah, we can apply both modifiers. First of all, return it, Shift D, duplicate it, put it into a backup, apply, apply, and now we will firstly make a, what's it called, the texture for it. Firstly, we need a new material. Since you probably do not have the same setup as I have, I'm gonna go onto the material properties, press new, call it road. That's, by the way, not the way you do road materials for Assetto Corsa, but not exactly. Will look fine for now, but we would do this differently. Just Google it and you'll find it. Well, now we will, yeah, the road. Let's go to, where is it? Shading. Perfectly. There's the road. Press tab. On the top, face select a face, press U, follow active quads, length average. And on the U editing, you see that's how our unwrapped scene looks now. Go into material preview. Obviously, it doesn't have a texture right now. So let's go back to shading. That's why I have this set up. I'm gonna use this now because it's way too hard. And let's search for a texture. I think there was a texture that could be used. That looks fine. I'm gonna use this texture from textures.com and just click it right in there. And if you zoom in, you see it's not right. Select the texture in the UV editing. You can do this in here, and you see how it's wrapped. So first of all, I'm gonna really gonna make it like this. That looks fine. And also scale it along. Something like that. So we have the rough edges around that will follow into the grass. Actually, they should be wider. Let's move them around a bit. Nope. Looks wrong. I just leave it like that. Do not like the texture that much, but it's fine. Yeah, now we could actually just give this one a grass material. Call it grass. Under shading, give it a grass texture. I hope there's grass in there. Nice. Whoop. Looks completely garbage. Press A, unwrap, U unwrap. Actually, we could also use the same. And, well, as you see, so way too big. Scale it in the UV editing. That looks wrong. Let's press unwrap. That looks okay. And scale it a lot. Well, the colors don't match, the grass types don't match, but that's just like a texture thing. Alright, we're going back to the layout. We select our terrain and we hide the road, the path. Yeah. Brain fart. Okay, we select terrain. Can delete the second texture, by the way. And on the modifier, we use a boolean. Wait, before we do that, we select the terrain alternation or a close terrain and select the edges. Whoops. And we press E and lock the axis to the top. S0, so it's all even. As soon as the top is selected, press Ctrl plus P, select separate selection. So we have a new thing that looks really strange. Press GC to go down. Actually, we make this higher, so it's on top on end, on the bottom. And now we're gonna select the terrain. Click on Boolean. Click on Solver Fast. Click on the weird thing, and you see now there's like a hole inside. Press Apply. You can hide this one. See, there's hold A and click. Hold Alt and click on the bottom vertices. Press A. Delete, not press A, press delete vertices, and you see now we have like a hole inside. And if we unhide this, our terrain will more or less likely fit perfectly. To make it fit perfectly, we can select, for example, the edges on either the terrain alternation or the terrain. Make a new vertex group plus assign Control I, remove, and hit shrinkwarp. And we can actually nearest vertex, because they should have vertices at the same exact position. Press apply, and there should be a seamless. Yeah, a seamless. Jesus Christ, my brain! A seamless transition between the two terrains. Or yeah. Okay, for now we're gonna take the same texture as the terrain for our closed terrain. So from grass we change it to overlay, and you see it looks overlay 001. I'm going to UV editing, zoom out, press U for unwrap and unwrap. Now you see, now we need to mix these two together. So we select both of them. On the viewport on the right, press L on anywhere on the terrain alteration. First of all, click on the UV sync. And now we need to, does this work? Yeah. Now we need to move it so it fits in here. That's interesting. Once again, unwrap. Project from view, that's better. Make projection view with bounds. And it fits. Nearly. Scale it a bit so it fits. And now you would see it's nearly a seamless transition. Not exactly, but as I told you, this is a dirty way of doing it. Alright, so few things that are missing. Let's get a road back. No, this road. Perfect. We firstly do not have any road lines, which you could easily do manually. Either with a texture, like we could use texture like this one. So the markings are already there. Or we make it ourselves and then just creating a plane. Make an array. Make it small. Factor 2.5. 2 meters is just fine, I guess. Move it up the ground a bit so it floats over it. Curve. Fit curve. Street path, I guess. Is it fine? Let's see. Nope. Should be higher. See, how high is it? A bit too high. So it's basically on the terrain. That looks fine. All right, now we probably also would like to have some guardrails, poles, or whatever. Interesting. I see that there's the road and my path don't match really well, but we can mask it out later. All right. Yeah. For well, let's just say I'm going to the terrain alteration. We could also use the road, but I click on the first point, press Alt and click probably till here. There will be a guardrail. Press Shift D to duplicate. Press Escape so it stays in place. Press P, select. Now we have this line in here. On the top, I click on Object, convert to curve. On the right, Object Data Properties. Twist method is the up, and now we need a guardrail. So we're gonna take a cube. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Guardrail should be a meter tall, so I'll make this around a meter. Like this. It's like something like that. Like this. And the pole. Now I'm gonna delete these faces. Same with these faces. Nope. Faces. And also, I think I need these. Call this material guardrail. Yeah, can also do this in here. Just on the plus. Guardrail. Under object property data is under normal auto smooth. So we do have and I make this sharp so the edge will stay. Yeah, that's fine for me. Now, same as with the road, an array. Fit curve. We should probably rename this to guardrail curve. Fit curve guardrail. So it's got the length and also the curve, so it's on the right place. Looks good, just I think in the wrong direction. So we're gonna turn this around. Oops. Rotate around the z-axis 100 degree. And now looks quite big, this guardrail. Not gonna lie. Move it a bit under the ground. Forgot to hit the merge button. No, let's do it like this. Even though there is a weird edge, because there is right there faces. Oh, it's not even there. Yeah, but otherwise this one would be open. Yeah. In theory, if it's done, I would do it like this. Just gonna show you real quick. Select these faces, press delete faces. So it's basically an open end. And now this looks, wait, inside there should be, so now this looks good. One wall guardrail. Actually, this is not the way you should do it. And let's call it complex objects shouldn't be used as one wall. Oh, no, everything is open. Never mind. I'm just close it again. Perfect. Hey, let's just hide everything that's not needed. We call this one grass, close, so you can drive on it if you leave the road. It bothers me. Let's get our starting point up here. Click on a road, click on a vertex. You want to, well, have the bit boxes. Press Shift S, cursor to select it. Then Shift A, and empty, whatever M2 you want. Rotate it around the X-axis 90 degree, and you see. Now you can move it so the Z-axis is the front, a bit up, so it's above the ground. We need 2 of those. One is AC pit 0, and one is AC start 0. Alright, that should be drivable. Then after that we would do vegetation, like what's it called, the forest. But yeah, for now we will just test it, I would say. It's this part. Okay, we just need the texture, white lines. Let's go to textures.com. I don't know, line. Is there anything like this? Yeah, but in white, please. Something like this. That looks fine. We'll download this one. You need to be logged in for that. Just download it. I will know it. I put it in here for now. Make this bigger. Put it in here. You can see. Just move it like this. Yeah, and just scale it along. They look really, really small or thin. But yeah, as I said, the more time you spend with this, the easier it will be, or the more accurate it will be. But now, okay, so we're gonna go. We do not export curves, but we do have our grass. We have our road, our test road. Also, it has a texture of a guardrail, which currently do not have a real texture. It's just that gibberish, but it's fine. Our 2 start points, so we can actually run it in Assetto Corsa. the plane for our road markings, at least the center ones. This road we do not use for now, and the terrain. Alright, we can press Alt or A to select everything. Go on File, Export, FBX. I do have a tutorial folder, tutorial track. I do have a few of those. Tutorial tut new. And there, call it tut new. I do have a preset for this. I limit it to selected objects only. I only want empties, mesh, and others. Scale is 0.01. And I think the rest is default. And I export the FBX. Now let's start Assetto Corsa or the KSeditor. Move to this to the folder, tutorial track, tut new, and open. Make sure you let's do it like this. Make sure you have folder open. If it's the first time, you have no textures in it. Now you see there's no texture in it, but we do need the terrain. So let's start with the terrain. We go on, well, if you do not have these spaces down here, you can either drag them, click on whatever you want to display there, or you just go to UV editing, on overlay. Yeah, that name is, I don't care. Click on image, save as, find the right folder, call it terrain or whatever you want to call it, press save image. Let's make it like this. Material terrain, which is called overlay. This is the first test, so we're not going to use the correct shaders for this one. And now we're going to move up. Oh, there it is. There seems to be some holes. Interesting. Maybe shading issue. Just put some. Let's see. Make it bigger again. I'm gonna check if the normals are correct. That's an interesting part. Yes, this should be right here. Oh. There is a face. Oh. Press M by distance. See, oops, hammer this. Select everything, press M by distance and see if stuff disappears. Shift N to recalculate the normals. And we're gonna restart the KSeditor and export it again. What happened there is that there were a lot of what's it called, overlapping vertices, and well, KSeditor didn't know how to handle them, so we had we did have here some flipped normals or weirdly behaving normals. Oops, And now we already have this texture in the folder, so you can see it. We shouldn't have the same problem. All right, now it looks good. You see the cut from where the textures blend. But that's fine. Let's just put, don't know, something like that in there. Beautiful. All right, what's the next one? A guardrail. Paint.net, because this is a free tutorial, like free softwares used only. Later, I just make a really small gray texture. Save. Is the right one? No, obviously not. Go to the right folder, texture, save on a DDS, guardrail gray, save it in DTX5. All right, and it should be there. So somewhere here. Don't know. Just use the default as well. Bit dark, make it brighter. Yeah, it looks absolutely terrible because it's just a plain texture. I can make a few more tutorials how to do this the lazy way. Or the right way even. But this works. So the road, we did use this texture here. Again, or I'm not sure if it's again, you should use DDS format. Now we're just gonna put some numbers in here. Something like this. And white lines. It's also right in here. Which is interesting. Oh, that was too fast then. Something like that. Yeah, that will do for now. And then we can firstly save persistence, so we do not need to assign these things again. Press save track and head to our folder where we do have Assetto Corsa installed. Come on, Assetto Corsa, content, tracks. Let's take this one. I just duplicate this for now. I delete everything that's not needed. You don't need to do this if this just a faster way for me now. Whoop, 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 whoop. And save it with the same name as the folder. Yep, I pressed the wrong button and can move again. Awesome. Assetto Corsa, content, tracks. I copy the name, paste it in here, press save. Okay, let's test it. Let's just see how the we can leave the road and drive on the grass. Nice leg. Sharp turn ahead. while it's all smooth. Can I turn here? Pretty sure I can. All right. Well, it does work. Let's fly around. Alright, so what's now left is basically covering the side of the roads with details, adding more landmarks, guardrails, posts, shields, houses, and all the other stuff, and trees, obviously. In that case, there would be a whole forest in there. For that, I think there are a lot of tutorials out there, how you could distribute them. Maybe I will like do a short thing for the trees. But yeah, I'm gonna save this as tutorial track new, and for an example I'm gonna load my big home map. On which I used the same method, but in a much larger scale. For example, this is quite big. So we do have like the road system here. Theory. Yeah, probably shouldn't uncover the trees, but there are trees details like do I still have the houses? I should, right? I did have more of them. Yeah, we have like a whole map of some beautiful roads. And you can easily achieve this in a relatively fast way and then just get closer to make more details along the way so it looks fun while driving. I hope this was useful to at least some of you. But if you got to this point, it probably was. And there's one thing, never stop experimenting. There's most likely always a better and faster way than what I did. And probably this is the wrong way, but it works good, I would say. Especially for a fast way. Yeah, just have fun. And if you have any questions, just leave them down in a comment. And I will try to answer them. Yeah, with some better textures or some actual texturing and a little bit of more details, this can look something like this. Even though there are still a lot of details missing in here. But at least it uses, for the most part, the right shaders. even though we're still in an experimenting state. But looks, compared to the other thing, just so much more detailed. Or as you can see, they're like completely different kind of trees, because I'm still not sure on how to do them like I want. At least not in a map style that's this big. I'm currently borrowing a few trees from different tracks. But yeah, you see, here I ended with the details, and it's just a plain map again. But yeah, just have fun. Place a lot of things around your track and it will look probably pretty good.